Hello and a very warm welcome to today's session brought to you by Team Textbook Super Coaching. I hope all of you are doing really well. जल्दी से देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से आज के सेशन को स्टार्ट करते हैं। जैसा कि अभी मैंने आप लोगों को जो मास्टर क्लास में मिली थी, आई हैड टोल्ड यू के जो क्वेश्चन नंबर 41 ऑल द वे टिल 50 हम लोगों ने मास्टर क्लास में करे थे, प्लस 5 आपका होमवर्क क्वेश्चंस थे मास्टर क्लास में से। अभी जो हम लोग 10 बजे की मास्टर क्लास में मिले थे, आई हैड टोल्ड यू अबाउट दैट. And now at 10:30 p.m. we will be looking at questions 1 to 40 as icebreaker to make sure कि कल जब हम लोग दिसंबर 2023 में जो questions आए थे उनको डिस्कस करने से पहले एक तरह से we're trying to set the context. Okay, good evening Simar, Sahil, Loku ji, Pushpa, Shabnam, Vanshika, Debashish, Monica, Rani Kumari. Good evening everybody. देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से गुड इवनिंग रश्मि, देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से स्टार्ट करते हैं इस पर्टिकुलर सेशन को. ठीक है, लेट्स जस्ट क्विकली गेट स्टार्टेड. अभी जल्दी से 1 to क्वेश्चन नंबर 40 हम करेंगे. 41 to 50 आप लोगों ने अभी 10 बजे की मास्टर क्लास में कवर करे हैं, राइट? आई होप यू रिमेंबर दैट. ये आपके मास्टर क्लास से लीडर बोर्ड आया है, राइट? Really consistent altogether. Risha's been very consistent. Good job done. Sahil, Supratim, Diksha, Shweta Padma, Sanchari, Ravi Pandey, Isha, Gayatri, Liji, Avtara. Everybody, good job done. These were all students who were a part of the leaderboard for today. आज का जो आपका leaderboard था जिसमें हम लोगों ने questions like आपका Angry Young Man movement से Kingsley Amis as well as John Osborne से लेके we'd also looked at different metrical stanza form like rhyme royale, right? तो ये सारी चीजें हम लोगों ने देखी थी. I hope you are able to recollect that properly. I hope अच्छी तरह से आप इसको आप लोगों ने देख लिया होगा, रिवाइज कर लिया होगा. गुड इवनिंग सुजीत, गुड इवनिंग एवरीबडी. चलिए देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से लेट्स जस्ट क्विकली मूव ऑन. कुछ कॉमनली आस्क्ड क्वेश्चंस जो मैं देख रही थी बिफोर क्विकली लुकिंग एट 1 to 40 क्वेश्चंस कि आप कैसे प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं जून 2024 एग्जाम के लिए बेटर स्ट्रक्चर्ड डिसिप्लिन वे में एक एग्जीक्यूशन प्लान बनाइए, टॉपिक्स को लिखिए, कैटलॉग बनाइए कि ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर में क्या क्या टॉपिक्स हैं, अमेरिकन लिटरेचर में क्या क्या टॉपिक्स हैं, पोस्ट कॉलोनियल राइटिंग्स में क्या क्या टॉपिक्स है. एक लिस्ट बनाइए एक सेपरेट नोटबुक में एंड इंश्योर कीजिए कि यू आर कवरिंग ईच एंड एवरी कंपोनेंट प्रॉपर्ली, और इसके ऊपर भी हम सेपरेट सेशंस भी रखेंगे. एक और कॉमनली आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन है, हाउ कैन वी स्टार्ट द स्टडी. गुड इवनिंग अनुशिका. देखिए अगेन आई ऑलवेज से मेक श्योर कीजिए दैट यू आर वेरी स्ट्रक्चर्ड. अभी भी जैसे अगर आज आपने 8:30 PM की क्लास अटेंड करी जिसमें हम लोगों ने नेचुरलिज्म एंड मार्कर रेकिंग नॉवेल्स को रिवाइज किया, या आपके राइटर्स ऑफ द 20th सेंचुरी को देखा हम लोगों ने, राइट? तो आप वहीं से ही स्टार्ट कीजिए जो जो आप चीजें कर रहे हैं. या 10 बजे की मास्टर क्लास में आप लोगों ने क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस करे, या 10:30 बजे की यूट्यूब क्लास में दोबारा से आप क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस करें. तो हर एक क्लास को अच्छी तरह से रिव्यू कीजिए, रिवाइज कीजिए, लिस्ट बनाइए, एंड दैट इज हाउ यू शुड एक्चुअली बी स्टार्टिंग. ठीक है, रेकमेंडेड बुक लिस्ट पे मैं कंटिन्यूअसली वीडियोस बना रही हूँ. जैसे आज भी आपको वर्ल्ड लिटरेचर ऑफ पिस्ट जो रेकमेंडेड बुक है जो मैंने काफी बार शेयर भी करी है, वो भी आप एक वी कैन ऑल्सो मेक स्टडी प्लेटफॉर्म्स ऑन टेलीग्राम. आपको एवरीडे बता सकती हूँ दैट प्लीज गो ओवर दीज पेज नंबर्स ऑफ द बुक्स ताकि हम उस बुक को भी स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे में पढ़ाई कर सकें. बट एवरी डे रेकमेंडेड बुक लिस्ट भी मैं साथ में आपको देती रहती हूँ. सो जस्ट मेक श्योर कीजिए दैट यू आर स्टेइंग मोर अवेयर अबाउट इट. ठीक है, चलिए अब देरी नहीं करते हुए फटाफट से वी आर मूविंग ऑन टू योर क्वेश्चंस फॉर टुडे. आपके जो आज के जो आपके क्वेश्चंस हैं जल्दी से हम उसको स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं. coming on to your first question for today, for today, in Culture and Anarchy, Matthew Arnold describes aristocrats as what? कल्चर एंड अनार्की में मैथ्यू आर्नल्ड एरिस्टोक्रेट्स को किस तरह से डिफाइन करते हैं? मैथ्यू आर्नल्ड किस तरह से उनको डिफाइन कर रहे हैं? हाउ इज ही डिफाइनिंग? जल्दी से बताइए, व्हाट इज द करेक्ट आंसर ओवर हियर? व्हाट बिकम्स द राइट आंसर? कल्चर एंड अनार्की, मैथ्यू आर्नल्ड एरिस्टोक्रेट्स को कैसे डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं? Aristocrats are described as what? What are aristocrats described as? Culture and Anarchy, important work. Loss of Faith में literature giving you the cultural access that you are able to see. And हम लोग यहाँ पे क्या देखते हैं? We are able to see that he is trying to talk about aristocrats as the barbarians, so to say. Remember ये 3 categories बताते हैं. मैथ्यू आर्नल्ड का contribution to criticism, loss of faith में वो कैसे लिख रहे हैं, जहां पर हम लोगों ने फाउंडेशन बैच में विक्टोरियन क्रिटिसिज्म को कवर किया था. प्लीज दोबारा से एक बार उसको अच्छी तरह से रिव्यू कीजिएगा. You should be having everything on your fingertips. So Arnand का culture and anarchy, a very important work जो आपका आ रहा है. He's talking about these three distinct categories. Barbarians as aristocrats, Philistines are your members of the middle class, and populace are the working class population. तो ये तीनों categories आपको पता होनी चाहिए. All of these three categories you should be knowing. Match with list 1 and list 2. Match with list 1 and list 2. जल्दी से बताइए list 1 and list 2 को match करके what is the correct answer that you are able to see? What is the correct answer that you are able to look at? What becomes the correct answer? Thomas Haywood, Thomas Middleton, John Marston, Thomas Decker. What becomes the right answer? What becomes the right answer? What is the right answer altogether? जल्दी से बताइए what becomes the right answer? जल्दी से बताइए what becomes the right answer over here? क्या बन जाता है आपका सही जवाब? फटाफट से बताइए, जल्दी से बताइए इसका क्या सही जवाब है. Very good. Woman killed with kindness is what? Women killed with kindness. आपका जो आ रहा है, which is a domestic tragedy that you are able to see. This is written by Thomas Haywood, right? Thomas Haywood is writing woman killed with kindness, right? So that is what you are able to see. So A आपका 1 कहाँ पर है? A आपका 1 कहाँ पर है? ये दो options में तो नहीं है. So you can use the elimination method. You can use the elimination method. Revenger's tragedy किसने लिखी है? Thomas Middleton ने लिखा है. So this is the same. Revenger's tragedy is by Thomas Middleton that you are able to see. So B is 4 where? B is not 4 over here. So by default D is the right answer. ठीक है? By default आपका D becomes the right answer. Woman killed with kindness, domestic tragedy by Thomas Haywood. Revenger's tragedy by Thomas Middleton. Right? And then you are able to see John Marston writing Antonio's Revenge. Which of Edmonton is a tragic comedy by Decker, Ford and Rowley. तो प्लीज वॉर ऑफ थिएटर्स को अच्छी तरह से कीजिएगा. जेकोबियन ट्रेजेडी को प्रॉपरली कीजिएगा. आपके जेकोबियन ट्रेजेडी राइटर्स जो आ रहे हैं, योर ओवरऑल टोटल जो आपका जेकोबियन ट्रेजेडी वॉर ऑफ थिएटर्स, मार्स्टन, डेकर ऑन वन हैंड, बेन जॉनसन ऑन द अदर. बेन जॉनसन मर्मेड टैबलिन पे आ रहे हैं. बेन जॉनसन को ड्राइडन ने क्या किया? अभी कल की मास्टर क्लास में हम लोगों ने कहा था जुडिशियस राइटर. रिमेंबर कल की मास्टर क्लास में जो क्वेश्चंस हम लोगों ने प्रैक्टिस किए थे उसमें ड्राइडन बेन जॉनसन को क्या कह रहे हैं? जब तक आप इंटर रिलेशंस नहीं करेंगे, कोरिलेशंस नहीं करेंगे, नो वरीज विष्णु, इट विल नॉट बी हेल्पफुल एट ऑल. कल की मास्टर क्लास में मैंने आपको क्या बताया था? कल की मास्टर क्लास में वी हैड टॉक्ड अबाउट, वी हैड डिस्कस कि कैसे आपका जो ड्राइडन आ रहे हैं, ही इज कॉलिंग बेन जॉनसन, ही इज कॉलिंग बेन जॉनसन एज व्हाट? He is calling Ben Johnson as the more judicious writer, as the more judicious writer. तो ये चीज आपको याद रखनी है. And Whitefield is a character in. And Whitefield is a character in. And Whitefield is a character where? Where are you able to see the character of Anne Whitefield is coming in? Anne Whitefield is a character कहाँ पे आ रही है? Anne Whitefield का character कहाँ पर आ रहा है? Anne Whitefield का जो character है ये कहाँ पर you are able to see Anne Whitefield का character? Very good, very good. Reena, Monica, everybody has given the right answer. Man and Superman. GB Shaw के सारे plays are important. GB Shaw हो गए, Galsworthy हो गए. आपका early modern drama के जो plays हैं, right? Modern drama के जो plays हैं, that is something which is extremely important. That is something that you'll have to be mindful about, right? Anne is portrayed as a respectable lady with many admirers. आज भी हम लोग when we were talking about American literature, remember we were talking about who are the writers telling you about American aristocratic order. People like F. Scott Fitzgerald, the opulence of the American society, वो चीज आप देख पा रहे थे. Respectable lady with many admirers, she's falling in love with Jack Tanner, ठीक है, and pursues him in the hope of getting married to him as well. Okay, you have to choose the options that is stating the correct chronological order. ये थोड़ा clear नहीं है, ये थोड़ा clear नहीं है, तो मैं आपको chronological order बता देती हूँ. Right, you can make a note of this also. As it is आपका, you know, the circle of reason, shadow lines, so when we talk about the Glass Palace, Sea of Poppies, इस तरह से आपके अमिताभ घोष के works हैं, ये clear नहीं है. I would rectify this so that you know you get it. Let's move on to the next one. A damsel with a dulcimer in a vision one size saw. A damsel with a dulcimer in vision once I saw. What is the correct answer over here? जल्दी बताइए. What becomes the right answer over here? What is the right answer over here? जल्दी से बताइए. क्या आपका सही जवाब हो जाता है? Damsel with a dulcimer in a vision once I saw. What is the correct answer that you are able to see? What is the correct answer that you are able to see? What is the correct answer that you are able to see? The correct answer is Kubla Khan. Very good, very good, very good. So ये आपके कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? कोडरिच के कुबला खां से आ रहे हैं, which was written in a drug-induced state, right? The lavish state of Zenado, the Mongolian emperor Kubla Khan, written in fragment. Which of the following theories was inspired by the work of Jacques Derrida? Very simple question, Jacques Derrida. So which work are we talking about? Which work are we talking about? Which work are we discussing over here? जल्दी से बताइए, what is the right answer here? Just give me one second. Okay, what becomes the right answer? जल्दी से बताइए यहाँ पर. What becomes the right answer? फटाफट से. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Deconstruction. Deconstruction यहाँ पर. This is the right answer. Deconstruction becomes the correct answer over here. Okay. Deconstruction is something which is associated with the French philosopher Jacques Derrida. Which of these novels deals with the tragedy of the Compson family? हम लोगों ने आज ही इसको करा है क्लासरूम क्लास के अंदर. Which of the following is dealing with the Compson family? The tragedy of the Compson family. Tragedy of the Compson family. आज ही हम लोगों ने देखा था आपका जॉन डॉस पासोस के साथ. ये राइटर जो आपको सदर्न रेनेसांस के बारे में बता रहे हैं कि is an important writer. What is the correct answer over here? William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury, right? William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury is telling you about the Compson family. The Compson family over the course of 30 years, multi-perspective है novel और is coming with a kind of a stream of consciousness technique. अभी अभी Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. कौन सी टेक्निक यूज कर रही है? Rosencrantz and Guildenstern is using pastiche. अभी अभी हम लोगों ने मास्टर क्लास में भी करा था. I hope you are able to recollect. मास्टर क्लास में we did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. ये क्या यूज कर रही है? It's using the technique of pastiche. Which of the following is the earliest play written by Harold Pinter? Harold Pinter का earliest play कौन सा है? What is the earliest play that is written by Harold Pinter? Harold Pinter ने earliest play कौन सा लिखा है? What is the earliest play that Harold Pinter has written? Harold Pinter has written The Room. ठीक है? Harold Pinter, very good Diksha. The Room is the right answer. The Room is the earliest play that is coming from the pen of Harold Pinter. तो ये आपको थोड़ा सा याद रखना पड़ेगा. Okay, you will have to keep this in mind as well. Okay, statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1 and statement 2. जल्दी से बताइए. What is the correct answer over here? Statement 1 as well as statement 2. What becomes your right answer here? यहाँ पर आपका सही जवाब क्या हो जाता है? Statement 1 and statement 2 में. Statement 1 and statement 2 में. Statement 1 and statement 2 में. What is the correct answer that you are able to see in statement 1 and statement 2? Statement 1 and statement 2. The new critics oppose biographical, historical, sociological, comparative approach. Yes, they are focusing on intrinsic approach. The term was first used by T.S. Eliot. Remember, Spingarn was the one. We talked about it also, and John Crow Ransom. तो ये चीज हम लोगों ने डिस्कस करी थी. तो statement 2 आपका सही नहीं है. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 is not correct, right? हम लोगों ने बोला था स्पिंगान इज द पर्सन. अभी मैंने आपको बताया था मास्टर क्लास में वी हैड लुक्ड एट. कैन यू टेल मी मूवमेंट किसने आपको वर्ड दिया था? अभी अभी हम लोगों ने मास्टर क्लास में डिस्कस किया है. कैन एनीवन क्विकली टेल मी टू जस्ट चेक योर अवेयरनेस वेदर यू आर एक्चुअली फोकसिंग इन सेशंस और नॉट. अभी अभी हम लोगों ने मास्टर क्लास में व्हेन वी वर टॉकिंग, इफ यू रिमेंबर डॉन जोआन, वी हैड टॉक्ड अबाउट ओटावा राइमा में लिखा गया है. एंड देन वी हैड टॉक्ड अबाउट योर मूवमेंट, राइट? योर सो कॉल्ड मूवमेंट पीरियड. तो ये मूवमेंट टर्म हमें कौन दे रहा है? Who is the one who is giving us the term movement altogether? We had talked about it. ये जो टर्म है मूवमेंट, ये हमें कौन दे रहा है? Who is giving us the term? Oh, okay, absolutely right. So again, that's what I'm saying. Please remember, JD Scott, very good. From Sahil Mehra to Yashika Tabi, Sahil, very good. Diksha, very good. Soumya, very good. Kumari Rajashri, very good. Monica, Anushika, everybody, very good. Okay. So please remember this. Please keep that in mind. कि आप लोगों को ये याद रखना है. The movement is a term coined by JD Scott. JD Scott. और कौन से writers हैं? Kingsley Amis, जॉन वीन, फिलिप लार्किन, एलिजाबेथ जेनिंग्स, थॉमस गन, रिचर्ड क्वेस्ट. मैंने आपको ये सब लिखवाया भी था अभी मास्टर क्लास में, तो प्लीज इसके नोट्स को आप अच्छी तरह से एक बार देख लीजिएगा. Who wrote the short story The Vampire? The Vampire was written by whom? The Vampire was written by whom? Who had written the short story The Vampire? Who had written the short story The Vampire? The Vampire was a short story written by which writer? Who was the writer who was writing this work? Very important writer who's writing this particular work that we are able to see. Who's the writer that we're able to look at? William Polidori. William Polidori. Very good, Diksha. Very nice. Very good. Absolutely right. John William Polidori. John William Polidori is the right answer. So the Vampire is a story by William Polidori, and this actually inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula as well, right? Polidori आपका आ रहा है. So it was a story that was based on a tale narrated by Byron during the storytelling competition जो Mary Shelley का Frankenstein और The Modern Prometheus, ये भी हम लोगों ने मास्टर क्लास में, आई थिंक यूट्यूब क्लास में एक दो दिन पहले क्वेश्चन किया है. तो गॉथिक लिटरेचर, गॉथिक ट्रेडिशन, गॉथिक राइटिंग्स, जो आपकी गॉथिक राइटर्स आ रहे हैं, इनका भी एक लॉन्ड्री लिस्ट बना लीजिए. मेक अ लॉन्ड्री लिस्ट ऑफ मॉडर्न गॉथिक राइटर्स एज वेल. यू शुड बी नोइंग अबाउट इट. How many pilgrims are meeting again becomes like a kind of a contentious issue, but it is clearly stated and you will have to remember this. So there are total 31 pilgrims that we are talking about. Okay, there are total 31 pilgrims, 29 pilgrims, and you got Chaucer as well as the host Teribelli. That is the reason there are 31. Okay, so sorry, so please remember that. In Dr. Faustus, the titular character earns a degree from the university at the University of earns the degree at the University of what? Earns the degree at the University of Wittenberg. Very good, Shweta Padma, Sahil Mehra. Excellent. Good. Wittenberg is the right answer, right? Wittenberg is the right answer. German scholar. उल्टा German literature में भी आप इसको लिख सकते हैं. Goethe का Faust is also coming over there. That is what you are able to see. Which of the following novels is set in the fictional setting called Coketown? Fictional setting called Coketown. कौन सा वाला work is set in the fictional setting called Coketown? Which work are we talking about which is set in the fictional setting of Coketown? It is set in the fictional setting of Coketown. Which work are we talking about which is set in the fictional setting of Coketown? What is the correct answer? Hard Times. Okay, Hard Times is the right answer over here. Tithi has got it right. Hard Times, Tithi has got it right. Hard Times, which is critiquing what? Which is critiquing utilitarianism. ये किसको critique कर रहा है? This is critiquing utilitarianism. आपका utilitarianism is getting critique. Utilitarianism, Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill ये utilitarian philosophy दे रहे हैं. So both Bentham as well as John Stuart Mill, right? Both Bentham as well as John Stuart Mill are actually giving you this entire philosophy that you have to remember. Okay, Lawrence's Women in Love is a sequel to. Lawrence's Women in Love is a sequel to. This is the sequel written to. Lawrence's Women in Love is a sequel written to. Sequel to. It is a sequel to. वेरी गुड दीक्षा. द रेनबो, ये हम लोगों ने काफी बार डिस्कस कर लिया है. अब आपको याद होना चाहिए ब्रैंगविन फैमिली के बारे में है. टॉम ब्रैंगविन इज अ फार्मर. ही गेट्स मैरिड टू अ पोलिश विडो ऑल टुगेदर. एक फैमिली ट्री बना लीजिए इन कैरेक्टर्स का. डीएच लॉरेंस के अदर वर्क्स भी आपको पता होने चाहिए बिकॉज दीज कैरेक्टर्स कम इन ऑल टुगेदर. एंड देन द अटेंशन देन शिफ्ट्स टू एना, हर डॉटर, who marries Tom's nephew Will all together. So you've got Tom getting married to the Polish widow. Then Anna the daughter is getting married to Tom. So आपका second family tree का line बन जाता है. And finally Anne and Will की जो daughter Ursula and Gudrun who are called the Brangwyn sisters, they are coming. So Rainbow and Women in Love, please remember. Which of the following writers was a diaryist? So diary writing is very important. आपके questions diary writing से आते हैं. You will have to consider diary writing in a proper way altogether because this is of course important. Let's see how many of you are able to get it. Let's see how many of you are able to get it. Let's see how many of you are able to get it. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer over here? Samuel Pepys is the right answer, right? And बाकी भी diary writers, you should be knowing कैसा आपका diary writing as a form आता है. You should be remembering when is he starting the diary. This is 1660. When is he starting the diary? 1660 that you are able to see. Which of the following is not a poem by Eliot in four quartets? Four quartets में ये poem आपका नहीं है. Four quartets में ये poem आपका नहीं है. Which is not there? Which is not there? Which is not there? Which is not there in four quadrants? Which is not there? Which is not there? Very good, very good, very good. Absolutely right. Hysteria is not there. Hysteria is not there. Burn Norton, East Coker, Dry Salvages is there, right? Little Gidding is missing from here, but hysteria is not there. So, आपका four quadrants में all the four, Burn Norton, East Coker, Dry Salvages, Little Gidding. You have to remember man's relationship with the world. मॉडर्निज्म में जो एम्प्टीनेस आ रहा है, कल भी हम जब अमेरिकन लिटरेचर कर रहे थे, वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस, सो you'll have to remember. Who won the Nobel Prize in 2001? And this is a writer who will also be coming to the, who marketed about the JLF, right, the Jaipur Literature Festival. This is a Tanzanian born writer. Diksha is absolutely right. Abdul Razak Gurna. अगर आप JLF, Jaipur Literature Festival की videos देखेंगे, you'll be able to see this as well. You'll be able to look at it. So the Tanzanian born British writer Abdul Razak Gurna, he was awarded the prestigious Nobel Prize that we are talking about. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Which of the following was not a member of the Scriblerus Club? Was not a member of the Scriblerus Club? Which of the following was not a member of the Scriblerus Club? Was not a member of the Scriblerus Club? कौन सा? He is not a member of the Scriblerus Club. Pope is a member, Swift is a member, Parnell is a member, Daniel Defoe was not a member. Okay, Daniel Defoe was not a member. Club क्यों था? Was formed because of satirical writing. एक पूरा crash course आपके foundation batch में है on satire that we'll be talking about because this is important, so you'll have to remember that. So Scribbler's Club, so Scribbler's Club जो आपका आ रहा है उसके अंदर ये सारे के सारे included हैं, and of course the group ended in 1745. ठीक है, so please remember that. Match list 1 and list 2, match list 1 and list 2, match list 1 and list 2, जल्दी से बताइए. Match list 1 and list 2, फटाफट से बताइए. What is the correct answer? Gabriela Garcia Marquez is Colombian, right? Gabriela Garcia Marquez is Colombian. So आपका क्या सही जवाब हो जाता है? You don't even have to go further. बाकी नहीं भी आते हैं तो भी आपको C correct answer मिल गया है, right? Pablo Neruda is from Chile, and your Vargas Llosa is from Peruvian writer. John Rolfo is Mexican writer. So ये भी please remember your Latin American writings, your Latin American literature जो आपका आ रहा है, क्योंकि आजकल आपके इससे भी क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, Caribbean literature से आपके क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, that you'll have to be mindful about, right? So please make a note of all of these and remember that. Who is giving you the theory of tabula rasa? Tabula rasa, ये जो theory है जॉन लॉक ने जो दिया है, it is associated with what? What is tabula rasa associated with? What is tabula rasa associated with? Blank slate. It's actually associated with empiricism. ज्यादातर इसका hint क्या है? Augustan age से कोई भी आपका पूछा जा रहा है, Augustan age, the age of scandal, the age of reason, the age of prose, it is always associated with empiricism. I will observe and therefore I will believe, right? I will observe and therefore I will believe. That is the empiricism philosophy. Okay. Moving on to the next question that we are having. Let's move on to the next question that we have. Reform bills were responsible for the transformation of English society in the 19th century. The reform bills intended to reform the contemporary education system. What is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? Reform bills क्या कर रहे थे? Reform bills were looking at male suffrage. Reform bills of the Victorian age were looking at male suffrage, male voting rights. किसके ऊपर थे? They were based on male voting rights and not on education, right? So आपका one is right, but second is not right. So A is right, but reason is not right. Okay, so please remember the age, और इसी की वजह से 19th century को age of reform भी कहा जाता है. Remember अभी recently master class या YouTube पे जब हम लोगों ने Middlemarch का question किया था, that Middlemarch is set where? Middlemarch is set in 1832, which is the first reform bill that is coming in. So male voting rights आपका देना चाहता है. Maurya is the protagonist of J.M. Shrin's play. Maurya is the protagonist of J.M. Shrin's play. What is the title? Maurya is the protagonist of J.M. Shrin's play. J.M. Shrin's play, Riders to the Sea. जेम श्रिंच आयरिश लिटरेचर के अंदर, यूरोपियन लिटरेचर के अंदर, प्लीज कवर इट एंड टू एंड, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट राइटर. सो जेम श्रिंच का जो राइडर्स टू द सी है उसके अंदर आपका कैरेक्टर मौर्य का आ रहा है. ठीक है, उसके अंदर आपका कैरेक्टर मौर्य का आ रहा है. मौर्य इज प्लेड बाय अ वुमन who's lost 5 of her sons, her husband to the sea. Okay, she loses her last living son Bartley also. That is what you are able to see. Song of Myself, I Sing the Body Electric, Out of the Cradle, Endlessly Rocking. These are all famous from the collection by. These are all famous from the collection by. We've done it in the foundation batch as well. We've done it in the foundation batch as well. कौन लिख रहा है ये सारे के सारे works? Who's writing these works? Who's writing these works all together? Who's writing these works all together? Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman. Who's writing these works all together? Walt Whitman. So Walt Whitman is writing this. Walt Whitman is writing all of these works that you have to remember. And remember, Whitman was inspired by Emerson. Leaves of Grass पे उधर से ही है. Willy Loman is a character in a work by. Willy Loman is a character in a work by. Willy Loman is a character in a work by. Willy Loman is a character in a work by. Willy Loman character in a work by. What is the correct answer over here? What is the correct answer over here? Arthur Miller. American drama. कल आपका foundation batch में class भी है where we'll be looking at American drama, right? Where we'll be looking at American drama. So Willy Loman, the character in Arthur Miller's The Death of a Salesman, right? The two-act tragedy, Willy Loman traveling as a salesman, disappointment, issues of consumerism, capitalism, failure of American dream. ये बार-बार 2 दिनों से यही हम कर रहे हैं जब हम 20th century American writings को देख रहे थे foundation batch में. Call Me Ishmael is the opening lines of. Call Me Ishmael is the opening lines of. Call Me Ishmael is the opening lines of which work? It's the opening lines of Moby Dick. Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck. Depression era literature. आज ही हम लोग we were doing. Remember? What is it telling you about? It's telling you about the depression era. We also looked at, remember, when we were looking at the wheat consumerism, the production, excessive production of wheat, which is the writer who's writing about it. When we were looking at the Tale of California, who's the writer who's written that? So Herman Melville का Moby Dick, यहाँ पर that is what you are able to see that Ahab is there. Oh Liberty, what crime has been committed in thy name? Oh Liberty, what crime has been committed in thy name? Oh Liberty, very good Kumari Rajashri, very nice. What is the right answer? Oh Liberty, what crime has been committed in thy name? What is this an example of? What is this an example of? Oh Liberty, what is this an example of? This is an example of apostrophe. This is an example of apostrophe. What is this an example of? This is an example of apostrophe. When you are referring to somebody who is not existing, that is an example of apostrophe. Which of the following is not a mock epic? Which of the following is not a mock epic? इनमें से कौन सा is not a mock epic? Which of the following is not a mock epic? It is not a mock epic. So Hudibras says Rape of the Lock is Meflekno's Conquest of Granada is a heroic tragedy. Conquest of Granada is a heroic tragedy, right? This is a heroic tragedy coming from the pen of John Dryden. तो ये आपको याद रखना है. Which novel by John Steinbeck is set in Mexico? Which novel by John Steinbeck is set in Mexico? Which novel is set in by John Steinbeck in Mexico? वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जॉन स्टिनबेक में क्लासरूम स्टूडेंट्स आप ही इसको ऐड कर लीजिएगा. पर्ल. ठीक है, माइस एंड मेन में वी एंडेड द क्लास एंड वी सेड वील कंटिन्यू. सो ग्रेप्स ऑफ रॉथ इज इंपॉर्टेंट डेकेडेंट एरा वर्क. जॉन स्टिनबेक का वर्क सेट इन मेक्सिको. क्लासरूम स्टूडेंट्स प्लीज पुट इट इन योर नोट्स. दिस इज द पर्ल. ठीक है, दिस इज द पर्ल दैट वी आर एबल टू सी. डाइवर का नाम भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. कीनो इज द नेम ऑफ द डाइवर. He knows the name of the diver. Moving on very quickly, please quickly tell us what is the right answer over here. What becomes the right answer over here? What becomes the right answer here? New historicism refers to the practice of approaching a text with the analysis of culture. Yes, that's true. The formalist method involves evaluation of text's autonomous literary value. That is also true. So आपका क्या सही जवाब हो जाता है? Both 1 and 2 are correct. Okay, new historicism, extrinsic criticism, new historicism, extrinsic criticism. मूवमेंट पोएट्री किसने दिया है? जेडी स्कॉट ने दिया है. मूवमेंट नाम किसने दिया है? जेडी स्कॉट ने दिया है. न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म किसने दिया है? स्पिंगान ने दिया है. न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म किसने बोला है? स्पिंगान ने बोला है. स्पिंगान आपका बोल रहा है. सो ये यू विल हैव टू कीप दिस इन माइंड. ओके, Which of these poems by Keats is set in the Middle Ages? और हम लोगों ने Ode to the Grecian और multiple times अब कर लिया है. So which of these poems is set in the Middle Ages? Which of the following is set in the Middle Ages? Which of the following is set in the Middle Ages? Which is set in the Middle Ages? The Eve on Saint Agnes. The Eve on Saint Agnes. ये मैं बार बार बोलती हूँ, आप जब भी ऐसा क्वेश्चंस देखते हैं, अगर आप ऑफ कोर्स अभी लाइव कर रहे हैं, पर वीडियो को पॉज कीजिए, सी इट, टेक आउट योर ऑक्सफोर्ड कंपेनियन, अभी रिवाइज कीजिए. ओके, सो अगेन, टू लवर्स दैट आर देयर, परफ्यूम, मैडलिन, दे आर they are basically representing courtly love, virtuous love overall. That is what you're able to see. We look before and after and pine for what is not. These are lines from which poem? We look for before and after and pine for what is not. Where are these lines taken from? Where are these lines taken from? To the skylark. Okay, to the skylark. So you are able to see, we look for before and after and pine for what is not. That is, celebrating skylark's song through series of similes and metaphors. Will a shepherd is the narrator of the poem, right? Will the shepherd is a narrative of which poem? Will the shepherd is a narrative of which poem? Is a narrative of which poem? Will the shepherd is a narrative of Pius the Plowman. Pius the Plowman by Langland. Pius the Plowman by Langland, that you are able to see, right? So Will is basically the narrator that we are able to see. Okay, Prime of Miss Jane Brodie is a novel written by. Prime of Miss Jane Brodie is a novel written by. Who's the writer writing this? Again, very important. पूरा fascist control जो आपको दिखता है. Muriel Sparks. Very good, Monica. Muriel Sparks, right? Muriel Sparks. Set in Scottish capital of Edinburgh, right? Telling you the story of Jean Brodie, the school teacher in Marcia Blank, how she tries to psychologically control the Brodie set that you have, right? So that is something. The first English tragedy was written by. Who's the writer of the first English tragedy? Who's the writer of the first English tragedy? Sorry, the first English tragedy, Sackville and Norton. First English tragedy कौन लिख रहा है? First English tragedy, Gorboduc, which is the first English tragedy that was written by Sackville and Norton. ठीक है, two brothers, Ferrex and Porrex, right? They conflict over inheritance. A Raisin in the Sun is a play written by, it's about a black woman, Benetha Younger. It is written by Raisin in the Sun. Who's writing Raisin in the Sun? Very important. Actually, कल की classroom class में we had rather talked about this writer also. Benita Younger का जो story है. What is it? Who is writing this? Very good, very good, very good. Lorraine Hansberry is the right answer. Lorraine Hansberry is the right answer. Trying to challenge the black stereotypes that are there. Refusing to marry a rich suitor and asserting her right to freedom. And Younger is anticipating the birth of intellectual and independent African American woman. Okay? Which of the following is not right? Is not a character from Dryden's of dramatic poesy. Is not a character from Dryden's of dramatic poesy. Is not a character from Dryden's of dramatic poesy. So Neander is the new man, Dryden himself, writes representing ancient drama. Leander is not a character. Eugenius is representing modern drama, right? And आपका ये चीज आपको याद रखना है. Okay, so Leander is not there. Eugenius, Lycidius, Neander, Crites, and Eugenius. So these are the four characters who are there. Milton wrote Lycidius in the memory of. He was writing Lycidius in the memory of. He was writing Lycidius in the memory of. Sorry. He was writing Lycidius in the memory of Arthur Hugh Clarke, right? Arthur Hugh Clarke नहीं. Edward King. Arthur Hugh Clarke के लिए Tiresias आ रहा है. Tiresias by Arnold. We actually started today's class with Arnold. Edward King is absolutely the right answer. Edward King is absolutely the right answer over here. Very good. Okay. Edward King is the right answer. Arthur Henry Handler, आपका Tennyson's In Memoriam. Okay. Richard West also is an important one. Thomas Gray is writing about it. Okay, The Vicar of Wakefield is a novel by. These are really simple icebreaker questions today. Please review them. Also, all of these you should definitely be knowing. Oliver Goldsmith is the right answer. Oliver Goldsmith, romantic work, right? It was written to avoid bankruptcy. Vicar telling you about Charles Primrose and his family who live in a idyllic setting altogether. Okay, so please remember. The preface to the Wretched of the Earth is written by. The preface to the Wretched of the Earth is written by. Who's writing the preface to the Wretched of the Earth? Jean-Paul Sartre. Who's writing it? Jean-Paul Sartre is writing it. Wretched of the Earth का preface कौन लिख रहा है? Right, by Franz Fanon. You are able to see Jean-Paul Sartre is writing it. Okay, again, psychological impact of the colonial subject, what psychological damage the colonial subject focuses and faces. Moving on to the last question for today, और मैंने आपको जैसा कि बता दिया है, आपका बाकी के questions homework questions थे, मतलब आपके I'll just tell you, but जल्दी से यहाँ पर पहले बताइए what is the correct answer, what becomes the correct answer. The plowman homeward plods his weary way, थका हुआ रास्ता, ट्रांसफर्ड एपिथेड. ठीक है, ये आपका क्या है? ये आपका ट्रांसफर्ड एपिथेड है. ये आपका क्या है? ट्रांसफर्ड एपिथेड है. अच्छा, अब 41 से, तो मैंने आपको बताया था 1 से 40 जो आपका था, ये अभी हम लोगों ने YouTube पे देखा है. 41 से 50 हम लोगों ने मास्टर क्लास में आज करा है, और मैंने आपको आई हैड गिवन यू 5 क्वेश्चंस का होमवर्क. ठीक है, आई हैड गिवन यू 5 क्वेश्चंस का होमवर्क. एक बार जल्दी से we'll just I'll quickly review the 5 questions that were there. ठीक है, जल्दी से ये 5 questions जो आपके हैं, we'll very quickly take a look at it, ताकि you are all very clear about it कि आपका homework questions क्या क्या हैं. तो एक बार जल्दी से इनको डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. Nizam Ezekiel was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award for which work? Nizam Ezekiel was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award for which work? For which work was Nizam Ezekiel awarded the prize? For which work was Nizam Ezekiel awarded the prize? Which work के लिए Nizam Ezekiel was awarded the prize? Nizam Ezekiel was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award. ये आपका होमवर्क था, आपको मास्टर क्लास के पीडीएफ में मिल जाएगा. लेटर डे पैजम्स, राइट, लेटर डे पैजम्स. क्वेश्चन 41 to 50 हम लोगों ने मास्टर क्लास में डिस्कस कर लिए हैं, right? Later day pasms के लिए you are getting it. Which work is not a cycle of biblical plays? Which work is not a cycle of biblical plays? It is not a cycle of biblical plays. York is there, right? Townley plays, Wakefield. Cheshire is not there. Cheshire is not there. ठीक है, Chester is there, but Cheshire is not there. ये सारे आपके cycles हैं. On the best portion of good man's life is little nameless unremembered acts of kindness and love. Which poem are we? Okay, this answer has just come. Clinton Abbey is the right answer. Little act of kindness, right? Little acts of kindness. I still keep on writing it, and again remember, recollection of memory of nature is something that the poet talks about. Okay, his visit to River Wye, deep connection that he is sharing with nature, that is what you are able to see. Which of the following novels is set during the First World War? Which is set during, अभी हम लोगों ने करा भी था क्लासरूम क्लास में, that how Red Badge of Courage, right, by Stephen Crane is talking about the Civil War. तो यहाँ पर जल्दी से बताइए that when we are looking at which is set in First World War. Birdsong, very good. Yes, Birdsong is absolutely the right answer. Birdsong is absolutely the right answer. Sebastian Fox का Birdsong is a war novel. ठीक है, different eras में है. Main plot is actually set in the war zone. Who, when we are talking about this collection of critical essays titled Mythologies, who is associated with mythologies? Who is associated with mythologies? Mythologies से कौन associated है? Mythologies से कौन associated है? Who's the writer associated with mythologies? This is very simple. Rolla Barthes. Okay, Rolla Barthes is associated with mythologies. Very good, Sahil. Sahil is on, very good. Good job done. All right. So again, please make sure that you cover all the questions. कल हम लोग आपके December 2023 पेपर उसको भी एक बार आप go through कर लीजिएगा. हम लोग कुछ icebreaker questions तो करेंगे ही, और साथ ही साथ में we will be covering a few like over 30 questions from your December 2023 paper tomorrow. Multiple exams जो आपके आ रहे हैं उनके लिए भी practice sessions ये काफी helpful रहेंगे. If you need any other support, please do let us know about it. I will catch up with all of you tomorrow for the master class as well as the 10:30 p.m. class. And foundation batch students, please ensure कीजिएगा कि आज आप अपना homework complete कर रहे हैं. I will catch up with all of you tomorrow. Don't forget to make a wish at 11:11, like I always say. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Sahil, Fatima, Anushika, Vanshika. Yes, please, Vanshika, कर नहीं सकते, करनी है, ठीक है? ये आपने definitely refer करनी है. All right, lovely. Thank you so much, Aftara, Rashmi, Rani. Thank you, everyone. Take good care of yourselves. And अगर कोई और doubt या problem हो, तो please do keep us posted about it. Fine. All right, I'll catch up with all of you tomorrow. Take care. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Yashika, Anjali, Monica. Thank you. Thank you.